All right, welcome. Ron Hart here today with Mike Lallier, and I just want to introduce Mike as kind of taking the bull by the horn, and he's running the Recall Gavin Newsom 2020, and so I just wanted to talk to him a little bit about that issue, that the politics behind it, the why, the where, and a lot of times politics get very emotional. So I kind of like to stay away from the name calling emotions, but just deal with facts of where is our responsibility as voters when we see the executive branch overstepping. So, Mike, just say hi, give us a little bio, who you are, where you're from, and how you got involved in this.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ron, for having me on. How did I get involved? I've been bouncing around local politics for about the last 10 years here in Santa Cruz, working on different things, different candidates, conservative candidates, and I worked on the first one that happened last fall that failed, and got asked to come back and head up the county again. And this time it's a little bit better run. We saw what worked and didn't work the first time, so this time's going a lot smoother, and we have a lot more help, but could always use more.
Good. Well, that brings up a good point. Just to clarify, some people say, "Oh, I signed it already. I signed it online." Clarify how the whole process works and where you have to go to get signed up.
Sure. Online ones, they're a dime a dozen on the internet, and they are not legal. You have to sign in person on a piece of paper. A petition is basically a legal document that gets served on to the governor. We've already served them, and it's a legal binding document. So online is just, that's just your digital signature, and a lot of online ones you can sign 2 or 3 times, so right, they don't count.
And there was a previous recall, is that correct?
Yeah, the first one was done by Erin Cruz. She started it last year. We finished up last February. Just didn't take off like it did now.
Yeah.
A lot of things have changed since then, as you can see with Gavin, and especially the pandemic and the shutting down of the businesses. People are a lot more upset.
And what kind of numbers do you need for this to be a valid petition?
Yeah, so we need 1.5 million. We're shooting for 2 million. That way we have a good cushion, because there will be some signatures disqualified because somebody didn't dot the I or cross the T, and we like to have that extra cushion.
And where do you stand currently?
We're halfway there.
Awesome. And what are the dates to complete it?
November 17th. So we are exactly halfway through the process. We get 5 months, so it's been 2.5 months. So we're right on track.
Great. And then you said you need help. What kind of help do you need? Give us some ideas of.
Okay. Well, our main thing we've been doing is having tables out around the county where people can stop by in front of stores, shopping centers, and we need volunteers to man these tables. It's just a couple hours on the weekends, or we'd love to have people that would be able to do it during the week. You pick a spot, we supply you with all the stuff you need, and it's out there and solicit signatures. Some people just like to sit, and some people get out in front and, hey, how are you doing? Greeting people, and, so.
And what kind of permission do you need to be able to set up a table?
Okay, so in the shopping centers, if it's just a store, like a private business, we have to get permission. Like, for example, a standalone store. But in a shopping center, like, let's say Safeway that has a CVS, there was a Prunedale Supreme Court decision that these kids won, and it says that any public sidewalk between the businesses and the parking areas are considered public property. So we've been doing a lot of those. We've been hassled a little bit, but you know, we usually comply to their wishes and try to work out some kind of resolution. You know, we had a Safeway in Aptos that didn't want us in front of their store, so they called the police on us actually instead of talking to us.
Yeah.
And we were able to mediate and move to about 100 feet down, and everybody was happy, you know.
Good. And then I love the technology, and even though you can't sign up online, what information can people get online and basically get their own petition, sign it themselves, and share it with friends, neighbors, and people around them? How do you do that?
Yeah, sure. What's different about this one is we have it available to download. So if you go to recallgavin2020.com, you can click on the petition link and it takes you to the actual petition that you can download and print from home on standard 8.5 by 11 letterhead. And basically you're going to print your name, sign your name, fill in your full residential address. And then if you've got family that would like to sign, or a neighbor, there's 5 spaces, get them to sign, and then you just mail it to us at the address below.
And then do they have to, wasn't there something at the bottom that whoever collects the names has to fill out?
Yes. So whoever is considered to be the circulator, they fill out the bottom part, which makes it a legal document. It just says, I put your name, collected these signatures from this date to this date in whatever county or city.
Okay.
And then you sign it and date it, and it becomes a legal document.
And then after we post this, we'll make comments and put, you know, links to do this and mailing addresses and that kind of stuff. We can update that after we get this posted online.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
And then it's talk a little bit about, quote, petitioning the government. That's our right and obligation as citizens.
Yeah, so this is our First Amendment right to petition the government, and this is one of the ways to petition the government. California invoked this, gosh, I'm trying to think, Hiram Johnson. It was one of the big reforms that happened, I think, in the 20s or 30s. They got the right to recall and to do initiatives and referendums to overturn laws, which is basically the same process, getting signatures. So this is the way the people, we the people, can take back, what do you call it? My brain's not working. It's a way we can take out a bad leader.
And not every state has that ability, right? But California does.
I think it's in every state now.
Really?
Yes, I think. Don't quote me on that, because I know I helped on some in Colorado, and I gave some advice to people doing it for a city council and a supervisor in other states.
So it could be for any office, correct?
It can be for any elected office. Yes. We, as you know, in city of Santa Cruz, we just recalled 2 city council men, and
Wow.
basically the same thing. We had to serve them with our list of grievances. They had to reply, and then we made the petition and circulated it, and then got enough petitions to put it on the ballot.
Yeah. Well, I'm old enough. I remember recalling the California governor way back, Wilson.
Yes, Gray Davis.
Yeah, Davis. Yeah. And then let's project, if you're successful in recalling them, who takes over? How's that work?
So once the date comes, the 17th of November, that's the last day we can collect. We have to turn everything in to the Secretary of State. he's got 30 days to count and verify all the signatures. And so pass or fail. If we don't get enough, then it's done. If we have enough, then they certify it, and they have so many days to call for an election. I believe it's 125. So it should put an election around end of February, first part of March. And as soon as they call for the election, they will put out the call to candidates to run. Right now, there are currently 4 Republicans who are going to probably run in 2022. They're kind of like filling the waters on that. And I expect one of those to jump in real fast.
Okay. Well, I'm a believer in Jesus and in prayer, so we'll be praying that all the time,
Yes, yes.
And what has your response been? Have you had many Democrats sign on the petition?
Yeah, so since this is a nonpartisan thing, even most of us that are doing it are conservatives, we're getting a lot of Democrats who have come up and said, this guy's out of line. He's stepped too far to the left for me to be comfortable being a Democrat. So I've actually been doing voter registration as well.
Yeah.
And out of the last 25 people I registered, 21 were former Democrats who have changed parties because they are very upset.
That brings up a question. Can you do that at the same table? The recall
Yes.
registration?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So,
yes.
So I think that's a good point, because that's what's on my heart, is getting people registered. Is how to.
Yeah. So I like to ask people, I greet people, hey, how's it going? You're registered to vote. I say, would you like to sign the petition? And as soon as they say I'm not registered, I'm like, I can take care of that right now. I have a form. Once you fill it out, then you can sign the petition.
Yeah. Okay. All the pieces are getting in alignment. That's great.
Yeah.
And then we've kind of covered a lot of the process politically. What are the reasons that we're recalling? I know, but just kind of restate, why are we recalling Newsom?
Well, a lot of us remember him as mayor in San Francisco, and we saw what happened there. A lot of us remember his Prop 68 back in 2014. Prop 68 is the big gun grab, where he changed a lot of the Second Amendment laws and put that, he spent the money to get that on the ballot. Since he's been governor, seems like he's just a one-man show. He just rubber stamps everything the Democrats do. Since they have a super majority, they pretty much do whatever they want. My personal reasons may be different. Everybody I talk to's got a different reason. I have issues with the water, cutting back the water for farmers. We have family in the Central Valley that are farmers, and people I grew up with are farmers, and they have to fight each other to get water. He keeps cutting it back in the name of environmentalism. Lately with me is letting the convicted felons, murderers, and rapists and child molesters out of prison on early release. One lady murdered a kid in a carjacking, was sentenced to 85 years, and she barely did 19, and she's out. It makes no sense to me. So that's just a few off the top of my head. I could probably go all day.
Well, I bet you Nancy Pelosi's salon owner is probably going to sign the petition.
I think so. Whoa.
Well, is there any kind of wrap up? This has been good. I think we've been pretty concise and direct on what to do and how to do it. Is there anything else you want to share?
Well, we need help. If anybody's interested in volunteer, we could use you. We'll find a place for you. all the way from tabling. If people aren't comfortable tabling, we need people to come over 1-2 nights a week and stuff envelopes. We're doing a what they call petition to door program, where we are actually mailing a petition, an instruction sheet, and a letter to. We're going to try to hit every registered Republican in the county
Oh, good.
to get these out. So we went and got the voter list, and so we need help with that. Donations of postage is always helpful, you know.
How about money? Can they donate?
Yeah, money too. Yeah, we could always use money, but yeah, the actual postage the stamps would be great.
Just bring a book of stamps down, and when they sign, give you a book of stamps.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. We got
go to Costco and buy 4 or 5 books of stamps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Wow, that's awesome. Well, this has been good. So we'll post this online, both on your page and then on my group, which is called Why Vote. It's a private group,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you saw it last night. I put on there your site and about recall Newsom.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do on my end is I have a private site, and I'm just putting things like, where do you find voter guides? And I have like 3 or 4 quote nonpartisan voter guides, and then I have some conservative voter guides that will rate the candidates and their propositions and those kinds of
Yeah, great.
So I'll post that as a link below this, and if you would do that on yours too, to post, hey, go join the Why Vote group. And it is a private group that you have to answer a couple of questions. We don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry in there. We want to feel safe to be in there. So that's one reason I kind of made it private. But I think it's a time for, quote, we the people start to unite. I've loved some of the different statements, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, you can't pursue happiness unless you have life, so.
Exactly.
And you can't, without liberty, you can't do anything, so people, we are, we're hearing this everywhere. We're at a decision point of how America wants to go as a freedom or control. So
yep,
that's our plan. We
Yes.
talk all night about that, but
Yes.
when I talk to people, and it's really funny because being a Christian, there's Christians on the other side.
There is.
And that's okay. What I'm trying to do, I says, I don't want to talk personalities. I says, we have to start right up and agree that there's liars on both sides. And they try to mislead you to get their vote. But I says, when you put their platforms up there in front of you and say, where do they stand on the unborn child? Where do they stand on Israel? Where do they stand on borders? You can see very clearly, this is the first very clear, to me, I'd say light and dark, but they would say just the opposite, the other way, and that's okay. But at least there is a clear choice. And what I tell people is read the facts, read your Bible, go pray, and I trust God will tell you which way to vote.